Today on the Daily Scoop podcast from the Scoop News Group, GSA has a new deputy CIO, and a Senate bill seeks to leverage AI for a new pandemic preparedness program. It's Friday, September 27th, 2024. Welcome to the Daily Scoop podcast, where you'll hear the latest news and trends facing government leaders. I'm the host of the Daily Scoop podcast, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for joining me. Here are today's top headlines. The General Services Administration has tapped the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers as Chief Information Officer and Chief Data Officer to serve as its new Deputy CIO. Dovarius Peoples will join the GSA in that role on October 6, FedScoop reported exclusively on Thursday. Peoples has held leadership positions also at the Office of Personnel Management and the National Security Agency. David Shive, GSA's CIO, said in a statement that the agency is thrilled to welcome Peoples to the GSA, calling him a leader who is passionate about improving government services through technology, and adding that he will play a pivotal role in shaping the future of the organization. In other news, the Department of Health and Human Services would be required to implement a pandemic preparedness and response program that leverages AI under new bipartisan Senate legislation. That bill, which was introduced Wednesday and announced Thursday, would call on the Secretary of HHS to establish a new program called MedShield that would protect against future pandemics by aiding collaboration between government and the private sector and use AI in several areas, including detecting pathogens and developing vaccines. According to a release, the legislation requires HHS to operationalize AI in line with the recommendation from the National Security Commission on Artificial Intelligence, an independent commission that made recommendations to Congress and the White House about the technology back in 2021. For more news at the intersection of the federal government and technology, visit FedScoop.com. Thanks so much for tuning in to another episode of the Daily Scoop podcast, available on all podcast platforms. If you've already rated the podcast on your platform of choice, thanks so much. High ratings and good reviews of the show help more people to find it. The Daily Scoop podcast is a production of the Scoop News Group in Washington, D.C. Adam Butler and Carlin Fisher help put the show together, and the entire Scoop News Group team contributes. We'll be back next week with more top headlines. Until then, I'm your host, Billy Mitchell. Thanks so much for listening.